I'd now like to introduce Richard Wheaton. Richard's the Managing Director of Neo at Ogilvy, providing digital marketing services to many Ogilvy clients and many of you in the room today.
So other questions we might ask about, again, traditional kind of filters. And we get caught up in this in digital media too. I'm not saying this is just entirely applying to traditional media. So one question that we quite often get challenged when we're using a new channel is can we measure this in the familiar ways? So we might be using a new rich media format, we might be using video, we might be using a sponsorship opportunity, but it's amazing how quickly you do gravitate back to, is there a click-through rate here? You know, can I reach out to something that I know about and I can benchmark this with? And again, this is something of a trap because it can move you away from experimentation, just as Rory was pointing out. So perhaps a listening question here is, knowing that the measurement abilities of these new emerging channels are new and different, is there something I can learn about this audience that is actually different and which we don't typically see? An example I love here is actually is video on demand. This is where each consumer that sees a video on demand TV program is actually one at a time. It's not tens of millions of people. It is one at a time people requesting it, and this is particularly running now in cable. Neo in New York has now run in-stream TV advertising on cable channels through ad servers, the same sort of servers we use to serve in banner advertising. And it's generating different types of data. Again, it's not massive, it's not tens of millions of people, but it's a whole different type of information stream. This chart here illustrates the second-by-second viewing habits of people watching this in-stream ad. And this is a 75-second long-form infomercial. And as you can see, interestingly, black, we've actually seemed to have trained them to drop off at the 30-second mark. Now that's consumer behavior, but I wonder if also that's the agency actually also using its skills to concentrate a message within that opening burst. This is great information. Not so much for the media agency. It's not easy to reshoot a commercial during the campaign and rerun it. But this is fantastic data for the creative community to start to say, right, now how do we re-engage consumers at that 20-second mark? Start perhaps to introduce a concept, another image, something that actually keeps their interests. And as you can see, that's 5 different commercials there. Some of them have rather bombed, but you can see that top one has held quite a lot of attention. And trying to keep that kind of engagement, that's all new types of information that we can engage listening to the digital data. Let me end on a kind of a really strong question, which we all as marketers instinctively reach to. How do we hit as many people as possible with our dollars? There's a lot of assumptions you would question in that question based on what we've already heard. There has to be a more listening aspect to this, and we do frequently find ourselves turning around in digital media and actually asking, the first question is actually, what do they want to see? How can we reach out? How can we actually find out what they want and then present the right message to them? And again, the other way of turning this around is to say, if you can present a different message to someone based on what you know about them, why wouldn't you? The most powerful area for us to talk about here, of course, is search. Google does now take 50% of UK digital advertising money on its own. There's something going on very special in search. And for brands that are just experimenting in it, they do tend to find amazing ways of using this platform now. What we do as an agency is we go through a process of what we call keyword mining. So we would take a brand and actually find tens of thousands of words which are associated with that brand, and then build a strategy around it. Start to listen to how people are interacting and clicking or not clicking on those words. But the real alchemy with search, as a number of you will know as clients and agency people, is the creative messaging alongside those keywords. So you're actually, some brands don't necessarily want to generate a click-through because you only pay when you click through. So actually if that copy can qualify someone and actually stop them from clicking, that might be your goal. By and large, high click-through rate is a good thing in search, but not always. So I think search does come through as one of the most powerful listening techniques that we have. As Bob says, this is people who are right now searching for something immediately. They're typing in the words that they're looking for right now. That is an amazing listening opportunity for us to grasp that information. So I hope what I've demonstrated is not just that digital media helps us target well, because it does, but I think it's also really challenging some of the ways in which we look at some of the really basic, fundamental media questions, and perhaps listen before we jump to assumptions about how we're going to target and how we're going to measure.